Hello again, everyone. This is Jeff, and it's story time again. This time, I'm going to bring you a story from Japan. This story is called The Miraculous Tea Kettle. I know you're wondering. I'll begin. One day, there was a priest in the temple. So a priest. And one day, he found a tea kettle. And he had decided to make some tea. Of course, he was very thirsty, so he decided to make some tea. And when he was about to set the tea onto the fire, suddenly, the kettle changed. And it had the face, the tail, and the feet of a badger. Yes, a badger is a fuzzy little guy. If I told you in Japanese, it would ruin the story. But a badger is an animal about this big, like a raccoon. Yeah. It had the head, the tail, and the feet of a badger. So, of course, the priest was very surprised to see this. And, well, what happened was, when it changed, it was very, very, very interesting. The badger began to fly around the room. And the priest is looking, and the badger, flying around the room. So the priest, he didn't know what to do. He was so surprised. But finally, he caught the badger and he put him into a box. So he caught him and he put him into a box. And he left the box in a place where no one would touch it. Shortly after that, so a little while after, shortly after that, a tinker came to the temple. And a tinker is someone who sells metal, like tin and steel, and they also fix things. They fix metal things, and they sell metal. So, the tinker was coming to ask for some things to fix, but the priest decided to give him the tea kettle. And he said, "Here, tinker, you can have this tea kettle." And the tinker looked in the box. "Oh, a tea kettle? Okay, I'll take this. Thank you." So the tinker went home, and he liked the tea kettle, but he said, "I'll work on it tomorrow." So he left the tea kettle. That night, the tinker was awakened. He was sleeping and he was awakened by some strange noises in the kitchen. So the tinker went to the kitchen to see what happened. And of course, the lively badger was flying around his room. La, 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 hey. Now the tinker was very, very surprised. This badger flying around, and he had the head, legs, and tail of a badger flying around his kitchen. He didn't know what to do. So, instead, he decided to call his friends. The tinker's friends came to his house, and they saw the badger flying around. And they said, "Yoshi, you know, Yoshi, you could make a lot of money off that badger. He can dance, you know, and maybe you could teach him to walk on a tightrope." Tightrope is a rope. People have an umbrella and they walk across a tightrope. So he said, "Maybe you could teach this badger some tricks. He will make you some money." So the tinker said, "That's a good idea." So what he did, he took the badger on a road trip. They traveled all over Japan, and the badger would dance, walk on the tightrope, and fly. It was amazing. The tinker made a lot of money, because of the advice of his friends. His friends gave him good advice, good hints. They gave him good advice. And each performance was amazing by this lively badger. The performances were wonderful, great performance. So the tinker made a lot of money. But what the tinker did, that was really wonderful. After a while, when he traveled far and wide and made a lot of money, he went back to the temple and gave them half the money. And he also returned the tea kettle. And that's a pretty nice story, I think. The miraculous tea kettle. An amazing thing. So, if you have a tea kettle, maybe you should check your tea kettle and see what happens, yeah? You could have a badger. That's the story for today. See you next time.